This is underwater super oleophobic. What that means is that when you put it under water and you put an oil droplet on it, it will repel the oil droplet. Can you see this
Yes,
pink
ma'am.
color droplet?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
this is the oil droplet, okay? So
Okay.
this
Yeah.
oil droplet is repelled.
Hey all, a very good evening. So welcome to the third episode of Chakravyuha. And in today's episode, we have a very interesting session, as you could have seen from the demonstration in the introduction by Arpita ma'am. So Arpita ma'am is today's guest and my senior from BSc. Okay, she basically is currently a senior researcher at IIT Guwahati, and she has published some really good work in very high impact journals. Apart from that, her group's work is also patented and is currently under commercialization. Interestingly, a lot of her work has also been given a lot of news coverage as well. So it's gonna be a really fun session. I had a really good time interacting with her, and I'm sure that you would also be quite interested after the end of the session in whatever work that she carries out. So let's hear it from her. Let's welcome Arpita ma'am.
So, a very good evening, ma'am. Welcome to the channel, and thank you so much for accepting this invitation. I think students will benefit a lot from your words of wisdom. So, ma'am, the first question that I have for you, and your research work is like very, very extraordinary and it's very, very interesting. So, if you could kindly, sum up your research work, what is it about, and what are its applications,
Good evening, and thank
ma'am?
you for giving me the opportunity to showcase my research work. So it's really motivating so that when people recognize your work, otherwise spending so much time doing PhD, and in a country like ours, research scholars are not much given importance. So it's good in a way that nowadays that we are getting, like, not us, so every research scholar, especially during this pandemic, I think people have realized the importance of scientists. So it feels good. Thank you. And so when it comes to my research, I think we are a very popular group that way. We are very good in publicity. So
Right.
we work on some properties which are already present in nature. These are called super hydrophobic property, underwater super oleophobic property. So what is that? I'll tell you. Super hydrophobicity is basically super water repelling. So it repels water. That property is found in the lotus leaf. So based on that property and investigation of the lotus leaf, scientists have found out how we can artificially make substrates that are super hydrophobic. So based on the chemistry and all that, we have prepared some substrates. I'll show you some of the substrates. This is a fabric. So if you have like the t-shirt that you're wearing, uh, if you pour water in it, it'll soak the water. But this substrate, if I pour water on it, it will roll off. Can you see the water droplets rolling off?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Using some polymers, we have prepared this fabric. Natural polymers like proteins, synthetic polymers also be used to prepare such kind of coating on fabrics. Then this is a piece of cotton, the regular cotton that you use.
Right, ma'am.
So I have made this super hydrophobic. This also, can you see?
Yeah,
Cotton soaks water.
quite
This is a
fascinating.
sponge. I'll come to the sponge later. This is a glass slide. So I've done the coating on the glass slide, and rolls off the water. So the fabric, you can find its application in like textile industries. And this is a sponge which is super hydrophobic again. So these kind of sponges which are super hydrophobic, so this can repel the water, but it soaks up the oil. Okay. So this sponge we have already patented, and it is on its way towards commercialization with Mangalore Refinery, which is a subsidy of ONGC.
Right,
So
ma'am.
they've taken up the sponge for commercialization. So they will use it for oil water separation. So the conventional methods that are used for oil water separation are very expensive. They are inefficient because the methods that are used currently, they take up both the oil and water. The selectivity is less, but using such substrates, the selectivity is higher. These are economical as well. So, and plus you can repetitively use it. So that way, and the scalability is also good. So these are some of the things that we do on the super hydrophobic part. So applications, as I told you, oil industries, it finds immense application. We have a collaboration with MRPL already, where we have filed, we already gave it them 3-4 products for patent and all. And then we also have other parts where we use these kind of other materials. Then another thing I'll show you is the underwater super oleophobic property. So what is that? So you know fishes, right? The fish scales, I mean, the scales of the fish.
Right,
So
ma'am.
when it is underwater, the fish scales repel the oil droplet. So that is how fishes actually repel the water, oil layer that is on them.
Okay.
Okay, so that property also we have mimicked in our lab to develop a few substrates for again oil water separation. So this fabric which I showed you, I made it super hydrophobic using a different chemistry. I also made it underwater super oleophobic. So this fabric, when I put it underwater, can you see the pink color fabric over here? This one, right? This
Yeah,
pink
yeah.
fabric.
Right, ma'am.
So this is underwater super oleophobic. What that means is that when you put it underwater and you put an oil droplet on it, it will repel the oil droplet. Can you see this
Yes,
pink
ma'am.
color droplet?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
this is the oil droplet, okay? So
Okay.
this oil droplet is repelled. So if you use this kind of a fabric for oil water separation, so you have industrial pipelines, you can tie these kind of fabrics to those pipelines, selectively allow only the water to pass, the oil will be not permeated. So
Right.
that way, you know, the problem of contamination of water through with oil contaminants, that can be prevented. So these are some of the you know, products that we are developing, and we are actively looking forward for more collaborations to showcase our work and take a you know, step ahead for commercialization. So that
Okay.
is what we work on, and it is a very interesting area of work rather than the conventional ones. Like I feel very lucky that I got to develop such products, and it's something that comes quick also. Not like you have to spend hours and hours trying to find something. It's nice. It's good actually.
Thank you so much for that wonderful demonstration. That was quite fascinating, honestly. And so, ma'am, like you said, this work is basically something like a biomimetic, right? You're mimicking the nature in
Yeah.
some sense. So, ma'am, when you carry out this work, what kind of someone who wants to carry out that work, for example, what kind of concepts or theoretical concepts would you be basically emphasizing on, that these are some things that you should be aware of, or these are some things that you should be practicing beforehand if you want to do a research in the field of biomimetics?
Nothing like that. To be honest, I had no idea about biomimic surfaces before I joined my PhD. So, see, PhD is something. What I have often seen people decide their PhD based on what they worked in during the MSc project. I'd like to clarify here, don't mistake your MSc project as something as your first step towards your PhD. My specialization in MSc was inorganic chemistry. Now what I work on has nothing to do with basic chemistry, honestly. This is
Okay.
just surface chemistry. It's more towards application. So what you asked, the preparation that would require for biomimicry, there is nothing like that. Once you get into a field, you start reading on that field topic, you'll automatically grasp the concepts and then you can work on that.
Right.
It's just not just this field, any field for that matter.
So, ma'am, but then how did you shortlist that, okay, this is the lab you would want to work on, or this is a topic you would want to work
See
on?
that, yeah, so that is basically you need a senior. Honestly, I think I was lucky in that case. I had a senior. You need somebody who's very trustworthy in that case, who can guide you properly to the labs. Today in India, I personally believe that if you're doing research, that research should result in something, not like conventional, you know, you make some product and then you just defend your thesis, khatam baat. Nahi. If you're doing something, it has to have some application. If you have any application, then your research has a future. You have a future. If you want to set up your lab later, the chances of setting up a lab later are very good if you're working on something that is application based. This is the first thing. Anyway, coming to my personal experience, I had a senior who guided me ki this is the person who is publishing good papers, who is doing good research that will actually translate into some commercial value. And from my work, honestly, I feel if you are spending so much time working in the lab, 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day, you better do something that actually translates into a product.
Right.
Otherwise, what is the purpose?
I'm like a offshoot of this question, like you said that the research should be translated into something commercial. And what about, for example, someone who's working on theoretical chemistry, or subjects which do not have which are basically trying to find out the intricacies of chemistry, the basic fundamentals of chemistry?
Yeah, see, that is a different field entirely, right? For our purpose also, for the research work I do, we need theoreticians to prove that what we are doing is theoretically correct. They are in a completely different field. We are in a completely different field. So, like, it would be wrong for me to comment on their part, because what they are doing justice to their work. But what I feel I do should translate into something that is of commercial value.
Right.
Because anyway, the government is actively looking for research work made in India, kind of the Atmanirbhar Bharat, hai na? So you do, because there isn't any dearth of intelligent, talented, hardworking people in India.
Of course.
Every research scholar you go through is very hardworking. So if you're doing so much of hard work, it better translates into something that is of some value.
So, ma'am, for example, if there is I do get a lot of questions on my channel. Also, someone who is in their masters, or let's say someone who has cleared CSI, JRF, and now they're looking for enrolling in a particular institute for PhD. So, if you could give a few, I'm sure, ma'am, all the points cannot be covered because it will be a very long conversation. But a few points, according to you, which are important, which a young student who wants to pursue research should keep in mind while joining a particular institute and a particular lab or a particular field of research.
See, the first thing, as I told you, do not mistake your MSc project as your first step towards PhD. It is nothing like that. People who work in organic chemistry can also translate into material chemist or anything. That has nothing to do with your MSc project. Secondly, wherever you're pursuing your PhD from, your PhD, the institute, suppose I am pursuing it from IIT Guwahati, you are pursuing it from NIPER. NIPER or IIT Guwahati will just give me the degree. What I or you do in your PhD work is entirely dependent on the area of research of your supervisor, the guidance and the support you get from your supervisor. So, to the young researchers out there, I would really suggest, please carefully choose the supervisor under whom you want to work, be it any central university, be it any IIT, be it any CSIR lab. That is extremely important. So just choose your supervisor carefully, do a thorough background check on the lab environment, the kind of support you would get from your supervisor, then publications, how, like, what is the rate at which you would get publications, how much time would it take to complete your research. If it is taking you 6-7 years of doing research, some areas might take, is it really worth spending 6-7 years in that lab? These things are something you should really take consider before joining your PhD. Plus, even in your even if you have joined PhD, don't take it too seriously, and it's okay. There are ups and downs in PhD. Just relax. It'll all be sorted after a point of time.
Right.
But yeah, the major advice I'd give is choose your supervisor carefully. Do not go for ki, I'm getting in IIT Delhi. I don't want to go to some other institute because this name is big. No, the supervisor's name is what is going to matter for the rest of your life. Your PhD is a make it or break it degree. Another point I'd like to add here, small point, is the first 3 years of your PhD are extremely important. No matter, even if you get publications, you don't get publications, but the amount of knowledge you acquire theoretically, experimentally, is extremely important. After that comes a point, because PhD is a journey which is not just about publishing papers. You have to groom yourself, your speaking skills, your writing skills, uh, work, your work related skills, everything. So it's not just about spending 12 hours or 14 hours a day inside the lab. It's about how you can grab the other opportunities around, attend conferences, give talks, present your work, know know yourself better, explore everything that you can during your PhD. There are a lot of opportunities in India also today, I'd say. Like, I have personally participated in a lot of events where you get a scope to showcase your work, judge yourself where you stand, and interact with a lot of other senior scientists, young scientists, and I think just explore yourself completely
Right.
in your PhD. Do
Right.
not just restrict yourself to the lab.
And like you said, a very great detail of research is very important before choosing a supervisor. You should be able to explore your contacts and get to know the lab environment and whether it is truly something that really interests you before joining any particular lab. So, ma'am, the next question that I get very often is that, like, right now, ma'am, you have been doing really well in your PhD and your research, but at the time when you were planning to maybe join PhD, at that time, ma'am, there are a lot of problems with the job security. Like, a lot of students have this whole problem that after PhD also we do not have any kind of job security. So, ma'am, what drove you towards research, and then did you have these questions in your mind, and if you had, how did you like tackle them?
Yeah, so see, PhD is a long journey. There is a lot of uncertainty. Even if you have a good profile, you don't know where you're going to land up. Because honestly, if you're looking for a faculty position, any IIT or NIT is going to demand you 3 years of postdoctoral experience. Now, you're going to get paid in postdoc, but again, that question of job security. So, if you're to all the young researchers out there, if you're really looking for some job security, financial security, I think PhD is going to be frustrating for you in some way. I feel so, what I have seen around, because you don't know when you'll get papers, you don't know how things are going to turn up. Even if you have a very nice supervisor, supportive, guidance is also not good. You don't know if your paper is going to get published and where you want it to be. You have no control over your PhD basically.
Right, ma'am.
So that way, there is uncertainty. When it comes to my personal journey of taking a PhD, honestly, I had no family pressure or anything. I was free to choose whatever I wanted to choose. So that way, the thought of getting the doctor title before my name fascinated me a lot. But yes, when it came to choosing my PhD, I was smart enough that way that I contacted my seniors who were well aware of where I should join. They knew me, the kind of a person I am, what my capabilities are. So that way they suggested me. And I don't have any pressure on my head. That is why I'm free to do whatever I want to. But yes, for all those people who are under some pressure, think twice before joining PhD, honestly. It is tough.
Ma'am, like, since I can classify your research in a broad domain of material chemistry, so apart from the academic positions, are there any opportunities for a material chemist in the industry or a physical chemist in the industry? For example, if I talk about organic chemist, so the pharmaceutical industry has a lot of openings for organic chemists. Ma'am, what are the opportunities in the industry for a material chemist, if you are aware of?
Yeah, so that way, oil industries for us, what we're working on, oil industries demand people like us because we have expertise in, developing products that are of relevance to them. And other than that, I would say it is a little difficult because the industry in India is not very much there out there for scientists. So yes, for as you said, you correctly said, for organic chemists, it is easier to get into industries. For material scientists, since we do not have the expertise that organic chemists have, so it is a little difficult. And we do not have much options of industries in India where material chemists are of relevance. So, but for our field, I think for oil industries, there is relevance.
Ma'am, the second last question, or I would say that, yeah, the second last question is, ma'am, there is a lot of, I would say passion, or I don't know what, but there is something among researchers and students that they want to join IITs. So, as a researcher, as a senior researcher, what do you think are the benefits of IIT, or are there any drawbacks of IIT that you would like to highlight?
The drawback is you have to be under immense pressure. Other than that, the biggest advantage I'd say is the access to facilities, dude. It's like 24/7. Labs are open. You get access, better access, I feel, and it's more student friendly. Instruments are working most of the time, and if you go complain, things will get. It is for the students basically. In universities, it would be wrong for me to comment on the environment or something because I have not worked. So, but in IITs, that way, I felt the accessibility to facilities is better. But yes, the pressure is immense.
Okay. Ma'am, so how did you, ma'am, as young PhDs, ma'am, there are a lot of things that I guess even we went through, like for example, not knowing what direction to follow, not knowing how what would our research end up like, whether we'll be able to get publications. And like you said, there's a lot of pressure in IIT to get published or whatever the pressure might be. So how did you tackle the pressure, and what would you want to convey to the young PhDs who have just started out their journey and are feeling like it's just too difficult or something of that sort?
See, I would say as a young researcher, for the first 2 years of your PhD, do not think much about publications. Just do your work. Your supervisor is there to guide you. Do your work. If you you will get publications, it's not like you won't get publications. See, I personally feel more than you get publications, what expertise you gain doing your PhD is of more benefit. Tomorrow, if you want to set up your lab, suppose you have 10 publications, but you do not have that much expertise or confidence, how will you guide the upcoming researchers, right?
Yeah.
So it is not just, don't think too much about the publications. Just think about what the knowledge, the expertise you are gaining. PhD is another life for you. Basically, it's not just publications, it's about everything in life. It will teach you patience, hard work, everything. I'll tell everything it teaches you. Mo- every happiness, sadness, every emotion you will go through in PhD. So
Right.
don't stress out too much. First 2 3 years, just work, give it your best, acquire as much knowledge as you can on your field, interact with people, interact with a lot of people from a lot of other fields, because that will help you broaden your circle that way. So don't just keep yourself restricted. Have faith on your supervisor, have faith on yourself. And yes, if you have joined a PhD, there is bound to be frustration. I can guarantee you that, because there is a lot of uncertainty. Otherwise, just relax. हो जाएगा. ठीक है.
What are your future goals like?
Yeah, currently, so I'm looking for a postdoc position.
Okay.
I'm not right now, but yeah, 2 3 months line, I would be looking for a postdoc position. I'll test myself during my postdoc if I am capable enough to become a faculty. So if I feel I have that much potential in me, then I would apply for a faculty position. Else, there are positions in editorial boards in the publishing houses, which also I like that those jobs a lot.
Okay.
So those editorial board jobs, or maybe teaching in universities or colleges, that is also an option.
Right.
So let's see how it turns out. Depends on the kind of postdoc opportunities I get. So regarding your postdoc also, just don't go for a postdoc because you're getting a postdoc. Aim for a good lab in a postdoc where you are actually going to benefit, and it's not just like jumping from one branch to the other. Like PhD is one branch and postdoc is the other branch in the same tree only. It should be a huge leap.
And ma'am, what about these days there's a lot of fascination with doing a PhD abroad. So what was your like, did you try out, or what was your reason of pursuing a PhD from India and not abroad? Like,
See, honestly, I did not try for abroad because I was not even sure at the first place if I would be good enough a candidate for pursuing PhD, because in BSc, during BSc, I was not amongst one of the top students. During MSc also, I was an average student. After I came back from Hyderabad, I actually decided that I really want to pursue a PhD. And what I have seen, irrespective of whether you pursue your PhD from abroad or from India. See, abroad, if you're really pursuing it from a very good place, then it makes a difference. But if you're from an average university, the kind of papers that are getting published in India, you must be knowing that, right? It is of extremely good quality, high impact factors. There are a lot of young faculties who are doing really good. So the concept that existed before, that an abroad PhD is better than an Indian PhD, no longer exists. You see, most of the faculties that are getting recruited in India these days are mostly have their PhDs from India itself. So, like as I said, the quality of PhD depends on the area of research and supervisor you choose, no matter India, abroad, anywhere. If you are getting good publications in India, stay in India. But yes, in India, I think the pressure is more, the grilling is more. So that way, it's up to you. I personally did not go for any abroad option, and I'm homesick also that time. So I also got through Aiser Pune. I didn't go there also. I had to come back home.
It was really, really interesting to have a conversation with you. Ma'am, one particular challenge that you faced, this is my last question, which you still remember, and it was very difficult getting out of it or very difficult overcoming it, which you would like to highlight during your PhD time till now.
Honestly, to be very honest, I think I have had a very smooth PhD. Uh, like my challenges, what the situations I have faced is nothing compared to what I have seen other people go through during their PhD. The amount of grilling, torture, I'd say. That way, I am blessed. I am lucky to have the supervisor I have, my lab senior who I worked with, my lab mates, friends around. Everyone's been very supportive. So that way, I have honestly not faced any difficulty. Yes, the regular mood swings and the frustration is there, but that thing you can tackle, right? And the publications wise, also, I've been lucky that way. Whatever I did, it clicked, got published in a good place. So it was nice. It was all throughout a lot of fun, filled with a lot of good moments, a few sad moments. But yes, my PhD has been smooth, I'd say.
Okay. So, ma'am, would you say that that was because of your early decision of doing a lot of research before joining any lab? Was Could that be
Yes.
the is that the only reason, or
Yes. So yes, I credit my smooth PhD journey to two factors. First, thank you to my senior who had guided me, who knew my capabilities. I judged my capabilities. I took some time off to actually know if I wanted to do a PhD, in which field I want to do a PhD. Because yes, I had also interned in a lab during my MSc in an organic chemistry lab. So one thing I knew for sure, personally for me, I'm not made for organic chemistry. Those synthesis, not me. Yeah. Too very difficult. I salute the organic chemist who work so hard. It's really difficult. That way, I knew the kind of field I wanted to work on, and material chemist. That way, I had also researched has a lot of potential these days. You will find a lot of funding there. You will find a lot of there is scope in that field. And the second is my supervisor is very nice. Yeah. He is very supportive, and that way he's very motivating. He's young, enthusiastic. So yes, these two factors are the main reason why my PhD has been good. That is why I advise everyone who asks me, please do research on the person with whom you want to join a PhD, in whose group you want to join a PhD. That is the most important factor.
right? So,
So yeah,
like I
that's
mentioned,
it
ma'am,
from my end.
it is fair to say that I mean, you just can't jump for any opportunity that you are getting. It should be well researched before joining in, because as you can see, it can make your research life very fruitful and comparatively smoother than rest of your peers if you do a proper research before joining a lab. And secondly, how important would you again, this is an offshoot of the statement that you made. Like, for example, you did an internship in an organic chemistry lab and you found out that organic chemistry is something that is not for you. So, ma'am, how important is it to get some research experience in order to at least have an idea where you want to pursue research, or at least better not, like, at least know where you don't want to do research? So if someone is
Yeah.
actually joining planning to join PhD, how important is it for them to get some kind of research exposure, be it in the form of an internship or a GRF position? So how important would you say that is?
See, coming to your second point, the GRF position, I don't think it's worth it spending 6 months or a year after your MSc in a GRF position trying to figure out something. Yes, of course, like some people might want to, but I would personally advise after your MSc, if you want to join a PhD, do it right away. Do not spend time doing projects here and there. If you have JRF or NET cleared already, because PhD is anyway a very long journey, so you will want time there. And even if you complete your PhD, you might not get a postdoctoral opportunity right away or a job right away. That will also take a year or 2 years, right? GRF position, for me personally, cut it out. If it is of extreme importance to you, you want to do it, then do it. Otherwise, not. Then coming to your first point, I think during your BSc first year, second year, it's a good opportunity during your summer breaks or winter breaks. There are a lot of options for internships, your summer school, winter school. Join those schools. During my time, I wasn't aware much about it. So those two opportunities I had missed. But during my MSc, I made it a point during my summer break in my first year that I should get some research experience, know what research is about. It's not about getting publications or doing some hardcore research during the internship. It's just about knowing the environment around, how it feels to be in a laboratory, how it feels to be amongst the research scholars. That's where you actually interact with people, you interact with your seniors, get various opinions. And then you judge yourself, sit down, take some time. Else spending time after your MSc a year figuring out whether you want to do your PhD is just a waste of time.
Right, right.
So yes, that is important, I think, rather than spending your holidays. Holidays are important, but you have to wisely choose now.
Yeah. Okay. The point that you made was quite interesting, that, interacting with the research scholars also gives you an idea of how exactly the research is conducted. So that is also one thing that is pretty, like, which will give you, you can say, a shortcut, or give you exposure to what exactly is research, rather than pursuing a GRF position for 6 months and then deciding what you really want to work on. So
Yes.
that is an excellent point. Uh, thank you so much for giving us your valuable time and coming on the channel and having this discussion. And I'm very sure a lot of students would be attracted to the research work that you're conducting, and will be very interested in that. So if you don't mind, can you kindly disclose the name of your supervisor, so that if someone is interested, they can have a look or something of that sort?
Yeah, so I work under Dr. Uttamanna. He's a Department of Chemistry, IIT Guwahati. We feel very proud to say that he is now an invited fellow of the Royal Society of Chemistry. He's also a Humboldt fellow. He has received a lot of accolades for the work that he has done in India in a very short period of time, in about just 5 years.
Okay.
So anyone interested, please contact him. He's great. He's a good supervisor, yeah, I'd say. And
Yeah.
also a compliment for you. So my junior who's sitting right next to me, she said that, yeah, I know you're doing this podcast for Aftab Sethi, right? So he was the first apparently to have the Gate Chemistry channel. To you, I don't know. She told me that. So and you teach your lessons are very nice, very fruitful, and what you predict the cutoffs and all, that is accurate. So it seems she's your fan. So it's good, yeah. What you're doing is really nice.
Thank
I
you.
checked out your classes during the lockdown period. So I
Right,
thought
ma'am.
like just revise my basics and all.
Right,
It's nice,
ma'am.
yeah. Good work. Keep it up.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Again, I would like to thank you. So, like, it was, couldn't expect that you would be giving the demonstration. That was really fascinating and that was really interesting. Thank you so much.
See, that's for the perks of doing something in material science. You just have something like these products and all, just show it. People are fascinated. So
No, ma'am.
it's good, yeah.
Indeed, it was, ma'am. Thank you so much once again.